Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about UberEats Customer Scammed Me. Here's what happened. So recently I completed an Uber Eats order that I got scammed on, and the response I got from Uber Eats was unsurprisingly worthless, which completely contradicts the point of the recent changes they made in this area specifically, and brings up an important point about the trust that the company has already broken and is making even worse. So with that said, I want to talk about everything that took place during this delivery, how Uber Eats responded to this event, some concerning things about this situation, and everything in between. But before we do that, let's go over a quick disclaimer. The content of this video does not contain, is never intended to be, legal, business, financial, tax, or health advice of any kind. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is advised that you conduct your own research and consult qualified professionals before applying anything you find online. I also want to be clear that everything that we're going to be going over in this video is very market dependent on what applies to me, and my market may not apply to you. So with that said, let's get started. What happened? So I'm picking up an order from a local sandwich shop down here called Las Bandas Hoagies. The sandwich shop overall has a phenomenal reputation, and they actually do make pretty good sandwiches, not gonna lie. The order was simple. It was $10.63 for about 6.3 miles. It's not great, but it's solid as an order. I get to Las Bandas, find parking, grab the order, and head to the customer. The order was going smoothly. I ended up just grabbing the order, in and out, on my way to the customer. I get to the location. It turns out the house is under construction and it doesn't have a house number. I walk around for a minute just to make sure that I'm not delivering it to the wrong house, so I double check the neighbors to make sure it would actually make sense if it was there, and sure enough it was. I also made sure to check the GPS and make sure that the GPS coordinate actually made sense for the house I was looking at, etc. Again, this place was under construction and they basically didn't even have a driveway, so I had to go through the front lawn, get to the door, and check the instructions, which actually say meet at the door. There was no other instructions, just meet at the door. I knock because they can't have a doorbell during construction, I guess. They open the door just enough to look at me and acknowledge that I'm there, grab the bag, but refuse to open the door anymore. Almost like they were trying to keep the door as a shield. You know what I'm talking about? Like they're using the door to hide from me or something.
Here's Johnny!
They grabbed the food, wished me a good day, as I them, and a few hours later, I get this notification. Delivery reported as not received by your customer. Hi, Joseph. We received a report from one of your customers that their order was not received, although you marked the order as complete. They then give me a bunch of different tips on how to actually successfully complete trips, because clearly I'm an invalid that can't do this on his own, despite the number of deliveries they obviously see on my account. Accepting a delivery request without intending to complete the delivery, or picking up a delivery item but not retaining all or a portion of the item and not delivering the entire order is considered fraud, which violates our community guidelines and the 4-tier platform access agreement, and having multiple reports may lead to losing access to your account. So because this customer wrongfully reported that I didn't deliver an item, I actually ended up getting this notification. And similar to extreme lateness and something like that in this app, they end up throttling you pretty hard and making sure you can't actually get more orders. Now, thankfully, it's also raining right now, so I'm still getting a decent order flow, but that's because there's so many orders because of that. But this was the exact thing that Uber was literally telling drivers that they're not allowing anymore. They're not allowing customers to pull this shady stuff, and yet here they are doing that exact same thing.
You sit on a throne of lies.
So I decided to contact support about the subject. Contacting support. This wasn't the first time I got an account notice at all, but this was the first time I've been hit with this specifically on Uber Eats. So I decided to contact support and see what they said about this, which of course was going to be an hour-long nightmare. First of all, they took me through the overall roundabout of transferring you to the right department over and over and over again, because clearly no one can do their job. What else is new? Then someone tried to read me some script about a flag that I got. Again, keep that word in mind, flag. I was livid because I was being read off a list of reasons of why I got a flag on my account that had no application to what actually happened whatsoever. And they knew it. I asked to speak to a supervisor. They put me on hold so they can find one, claimed that they did, and then just hung up on me. All of that, transferring, and finally got in touch with a supervisor only to hang up on me. Called again. They finally put me on with a supervisor after going through the same process a second time.
That's okay. You probably passed the second time, right?
I'm afraid not.
3 times a charm?
Not for me, it isn't. Nope. For me, 6 times was a charm.
6 times.
And this supervisor can barely speak. Period. Not just a different language, just barely speak. She has got to be one of the most soft-spoken people in the world.
You're big, I bet you're good at basketball. I'm small, but I'll try really, really hard to be good at basketball. Really, I will. I always try hard. My mom says try your best in everything you do.
Or my hearing's going, one or the other. But she claims to be trying to help me, and for some stupid reason, I believed her. She said that she was going to look into the issue. She says she sees the flag itself, so obviously they're gonna do right by me here, right? They're gonna do their job for me here, right? And she comes back and claims that it was just a notification and there were no flags at all on my account. First of all, why would you send a notification if there wasn't a flag? Like, what the heck is that? Second, why can your subordinate see a flag and you can't? Do you think I'm stupid? And then you go from you see the issue to it's just a notification. How exactly does that happen? Are you stupid this whole time? Were you dropped on your head as a child? And third, how can you claim it was a notification when it was based on one of the most severe issues in the gig economy right now? Honestly, the piss poor integrity and character of Uber's support just was raising so much suspicion across the board. What Uber said versus the truth. Uber made a statement about a lot of new updates that took place in the gig economy, a lot of which came from Dara, the CEO of Uber himself. And those updates were on the enforcement and the wrongful deactivations that have continually taken place because of scams like this that have continued to happen. They even said they would hold the scamming customers accountable, and online we've actually seen refund methods declined and all of that stuff, and we would be protected against them. And here we are back to square one. They claim that my account was affected by this, but again, my order flow took a hit. Yes, it's raining right now, but my order flow is still a lot less than normal.
But Joe, it could just not be busy right now. I mean, people aren't staying in as much during the holiday week.
Yes, and you know what? That's a fair point, and I have taken that into account, but I can't help but feel that there's a sense of throttling that is still taking place as they did with the other account notices. Honestly, I really do believe that they're throttling behind the scenes. And not to mention, this is literally the same thing as before these changes took place at all. Like, seriously, tell me you only made that statement to appease the UN without telling me you made that statement to appease the UN. And if you don't know what I mean by appeasing the UN, I made a video talking all about how the UN has confronted Doordash and UberEats and all these companies. I will leave that video in the description. Feel free to check that out. Can't rely on corporations. Here's the reality. You really can't expect the corporations of today, or really ever, to take care of you. You have to protect yourself in your own ways. All of these corporations are proving over and over again that they will make statements to maintain an image rather than tell the truth. This isn't limited to the gig economy either. There's a lot of people boycotting Starbucks and Chipotle because it's almost second nature for boycotting to take place at this point. And yes, they have valid reasons too. But the fact of the matter is, no one trusts companies or bosses anymore. Not to mention all of the new terms for people that all of these corporations have for people with self-respect. Oh, you're meeting the expectations of your job and you're not really going above and beyond?
Quiet quitter.
Oh, you're applying to new jobs that pay you better as opposed to staying loyal to a company that's not loyal to you?
Rage applier.
Oh, you're going out of your way to do as little as possible because you will make the same amount regardless of whether you put out more work or less work, and you almost want them to fire you so you get severance pay.
Loud quitter.
Which I kind of am against myself, but that's not the point. All of these things affect gig workers one way or another, and is even proven within the corporations we work with. Doordash support, UberEats support, the executive teams, all of the back office people, they're not really there to do right by us. They're there to just do their jobs and get over with. Not to mention the irony of people who tell us to get a real job when this is what they're dealing with. But this only makes it more vital than ever to make sure you are financially protecting yourself as much as possible, because you know the people who are running these companies are going to look out for their own pockets and not actually take care of you, and are just going to lie through their teeth in most cases. How I am protecting myself. I am a firm believer that it is my responsibility to find ways to protect myself at the end of the day. So what am I doing in response to this? Diversifying my gig portfolio further. Honestly, there have been a few apps that I have noticed through the grapevine that I have definitely been meaning to sign up for, and I'm gonna take the time to do that. Not to mention, I'm also considering starting my own personal gig for myself, so that way I'm not dependent on any one app, but that's not the point. Press into the exit strategy. The gig economy is an income bridge to what would be a long-term goal. It's never the goal. So I will be making sure that I'm putting as much time and energy into my YouTube channel, as well as getting some personal things set up for my website, so that way I can start to transition some of the content into more of blog posts as well, so I can make money that way too. Investing. Really saving and investing, but I have a sufficient emergency fund at this point, and I'm going to be focusing more on investing rather than savings. ETFs and things of that effect. I'm making sure that my money is working for me and I'm not just working for it. Now, I do want to make one last point on the subject of protecting myself. Those things can be applied before something happens too, not just in response to a situation that comes up. I don't know if you noticed, I say those things a lot on this channel because I think it's just good advice during any period of your life, whether you're 18 ready to take on the world, or in your 20s, 30s, 40s, what have you. To do yourself a favor and do what you need to do for yourself to make the most amount of money in the least amount of time in the safest possible way, so that way you're never worried about whatever these corporations are going to do to you next. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.